joining me now, finally in person. We did one of these over the phone during like COVID season. It ain't the same though, bro.
It's not. It's not at all, man.
Not at all. It's a different vibe. Jarrel Harris from Sports Illustrated. Dude, thank you for pulling up, man. I appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you, man.
I
love the setup, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. There's nothing that gets me more excited than when people compliment me on the show or the studio setup. So already you're off on a good foot. But dude, first of all, I'm a fan of your work, for real. I think what you do is super unique and different with the whole sneaker culture and basketball culture, looking at it from a different perspective. And I think my favorite thing about you is that because it's what makes you unique. And obviously, I discovered you through your brother Ty. Shouts to Ty and my buddy Dylan. Them two used to work together. The audience knows Dylan. He's been on the show a couple times. But when he told me about you and I was looking at your stuff, I was like, damn, this shit is dope because I feel like, and you have way more experience in sports media than I do because you actually went through like the proper ranks, right? Like I've taken a completely different route. What's your background in like education wise?
Yeah. I went to Siena College in Albany. I don't know why I went 3 hours away. I just wanted to get out of the city for sure. But they gave me the best opportunity. They didn't have a journalism program at all. So I kind of had to like make up my own thing. Intern for the athletic department. So they gave me like free reign to like do a bunch of creative stuff. I got to like interview all the athletes. I got to film people. And one of my best friends was on the basketball team. So I used him for like everything, like just to practice like interviewing athletes. So like just call him like, yo, I need to record you for something. Let's make some highlights or something like that. But on top of that, I was also the sports editor of the student newspaper. So I used those clippings to get an internship at SNY and worked with the Mets for like one summer before my senior year. I was part of their media relations team. So I got to like hand out game notes to media. All the like when they promote like the toy trucks on TV.
Oh
like,
yeah, bobbleheads and
yeah,
all that.
It's like I'm usually behind, like holding it like that.
Oh damn, that's dope. Humble beginnings, huh?
For real. And sometimes I was like in a broadcast booth with the guys, just like overwatching like what they do.
Do me a favor, just move that mic just a little bit closer to you. Yeah, right there is perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't like to edit afterwards, so
My
I
bad.
just make it.
My
Nah,
bro.
you
My
good,
bad,
you
my
good, bro.
bad.
I should have done a better job of setting it up for you.
Nah, my bad. But I was just overwatching what they did in the broadcast booth, and then from there, I had like a million internships. I had a Dime magazine. That's where I got my first like actual experience, like interviewing someone that's a pro athlete, like Mario Chalmers. He used to play for the Heat.
Yeah.
That was like my first interview ever. So every time I hear his name, like something like just goes through me. It's like just like pure excitement. Trying to see what else. Did that for a few years, for 2 years. Then I interned with Complex for 3 months, and I was like, this is not for me. Like the whole vibe wasn't there. I wasn't feeling it. But I came back with a freelance opportunity through them. But it was like part of their branded content team. So it was more stuff that I related to, like working with brands and connected it with sports. So like someone like Julian Edelman, who was like working on with, I forgot what brand he was, but I'll interview him about the brand. Or remember I interviewed Jamal Charles, who used to be on the Chiefs.
Yeah, man. Yo, funny story about Jamal Charles. The first time I ever did fantasy football, and it was for money. He was my fifth pick. Now, I'm probably like, this is maybe 2012, 2013. So I'm like delivering pizza. Mm-hmm. So this is a $200 league. This is like a big boy league for me at the time. And he's my first pick, fourth or fifth pick, second game of the year, steps on like the first down marker, blows out his knee. And I was like,
I remember that.
Oh my God, dude, that play is so iconic. I've talked about it at nauseum. Mm-hmm. So anytime I hear Jamal Charles, because it's weird, because the year before I had him and he won me my league, and then the next year I take him and it's like, damn, I just donated. But I don't send hate tweets to them, yo. Like the fantasy community
I'm like
out sometimes.
big on, we'll talk about this, but I'm definitely big on like fantasy basketball. Like me and my boys have had one for like 7 years now. So it's like a very loyal group, like 10 of us, and like we play for money and stuff like that. But like the we curse.
Yeah, bro.
Like yeah,
Let it rip.
the shit talking like it's amazing. Like every single day in the group chat, just talking shit to each other.
That's the same
So I
thing with
love it.
us. I had an awful experience, bro, with fantasy basketball. So I did a fantasy basketball league last year. I had the second pick, and I took Steph Curry. And it's pretty much like it was a 12 man league. About 8 of the guys were the same guys that I play in my yearly football league with, which is like all my childhood friends. It's about 8 years we've been doing it. And same thing, man. Like, I mean, if you follow me on the gram, you know, I'll be cutting like promos and I do like wrestling photo shoots with the green screen just to troll them.
I love it.
So with basketball, I take Curry. He gets hurt. I had Zion, didn't have him till January. I lose Markkanen. I lose Vucevic. I lost like 7 of my first 9 picks. It got so bad, and I was getting shellacked. I was losing all the categories. Like, it was so bad that I did the most bitch-ass thing ever. I was just like, yo, here's the money for the league. I'm out, bro.
Yo, you can't do that.
I was like, yo, I'm out. They're like, for real? They're like, yo, you're mad loyal and I was like, yo, I can't do this, bro. Literally, yo, I was in that league for about 16 days. And every other day, I would lose a guy. And I'm like, what the... Before you know it, I'm starting like Nerlens Noel and all these like random ass bench dudes just because they're playing 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the number one rule. We can't do that, man. Like we just make fun of each other. We're like, yo, you tanking this year. Like some of my boys are like, they haven't won a game yet. Like I'm 8-0 right now in our league, but I'm getting like the injury bug right now. AD's out, D'Angelo Russell's out, OG and Unobi just came back, so that's helping me out a little bit, but it's brutal.
Damn. So I bitched out, right?
Yeah.
That's terrible. So, dude, after Complex, you do some freelance stuff, and then where do you end up?
I worked for this small media company like right after I graduated, sports video group. Wasn't the best like place I wanted to be, but the people there were amazing. Like they helped me out. And it was like part-time, but it was like something that gave me some money on the side while I was like working like freelance for other spots as well. But I got lucky one time. I also interned at Hoop Magazine, freelance contributor, and they invited me to they was like, hey, we don't want to go to this event, so can you go for us? And then I found out it was a Jordan brand event. So I was like, all right, cool. And it was for the Jordan 29. And it was like, yeah, so you get to wear the sneaker, get to play in it, and then you write like 150 words about it and we'll pay you. I was like, perfect. It's like the best job ever. Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. So I went, and that developed my relationship with the brand, and I'm still cool with them until this day. But through that, it's like going to different sneaker events. That's how I networked with like meeting other people. And one of those people that I met was Matt Dollinger, who was the NBA editor at Sports Illustrated at the time. And I was just telling him, I was like, yo, Sports Illustrated is like one of my dream jobs. So I was like, how can I get into the door? Can you help me? And he put in the word for me, and fast forward like 6 years later.
Damn, 6 years you've been there?
Yeah. I make 6 years in March officially.
Wow, good shit,
so,
bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Especially nowadays, man. Like you always see these reports, and you know, one thing for me, Jarrel, I've sort of done it very unconventional. Like I interviewed with some company over the summer, and they reached out to me. Right, I've been very active on LinkedIn. Like I've been posting on LinkedIn too. I get a bigger reach like on videos on LinkedIn than like some YouTube videos because some pop, some don't. It's just like trial and error. Sometimes it's the key wording in the videos that you put. There's a lot of like analytic shit that goes into it.
People sleep on LinkedIn. Like,
yo,
man, don't sleep on it.
It's really like, yeah,
really
we're gonna
great.
sound like Gary Vee right now,
Yeah.
but it's
good.
it's the next. That's the one that people are starting to use as like a social networking tool. Not so much in the beginning. LinkedIn was like business thing. Like here's my resume, this and that. But now it's like sort of like an Instagram, Facebook kind of, but still very professional.
Yeah.
So they reached out to me. They're like, hey, we love your work. We want you to interview for a sports betting thing that you have. And like sports betting is the one thing that is my strongest suit. And it's what makes me unique. I don't know all the answers to the test. It's impossible to, right? Professional bettors, they aim for 55% so they could be able to be professional bettors. Think about that, bro. Like in high school, if you pulled up to your parents with a 55, they'd be like, yo, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. But if you're a professional bettor, you could actually live and make a living doing that. So I interview and whatnot, and then it got to a point where they're like, oh, you're not that experienced, you know, the whole you're on our radar, this and that. I was like, y'all reached out to me. I didn't even want this, you know? So it was a weird thing. And it just got to a point where, like, I'm doing my own thing. I don't even know what my dream job will be. My dream job is not to wake up at 3 a.m. Like, for real. Like, I'm tired of waking up at 3 a.m. But for you to be able to work at Sports Illustrated and that was like a dream place that you wanted to do is like super popping, bro.
I mean, the road getting to where I'm at was long. Like, I started 2 days. Like, they just gave me 2 days. Like, we working weekends. Like, and I had my girlfriend at the time. She's my fiance now. But it was like she works every day, and then I don't get to see her like on the weekends. So that
because
was
that's
like
when she's
brutal.
off and then you're working.
Yeah, and then they bumped me to 3 days a week, and I was working one night a week. So it was like, 3 days a week, and then I had like one night shift, and that was brutal. I'm like such a morning person. I wake up at like 6 in the morning, and I'm like ready to start my day. But they put me on like working 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., and that was brutal. And it's like every time like going back home, it's like, is this really what I want to do? But I worked my butt off. Then they finally made me full-time, like after like a year or so. And I was working different beats. I get to edit like NBA, MLB, sometimes soccer. So it was like good learning about other sports as well. But I knew I had to create like my own niche because I never wanted to like be a reporter. Like there's like too many reporters. Like, how's the game? Like focused on stats or anything. That's never been my lane. So I was like, I would love to merge culture and sports like together, like sneakers, sports. Let's do jerseys or anything. Like, let's talk about everything off the court. Let's do that. And at least like I think 2 years after, they like made me join the NBA team. And then unfortunately 2 of the guys left, but that kind of put me in a manager like position. And now for 2 years I've been running the ship there. So
That's dope, man. That's super dope. And especially, you're right that you didn't want to just be a reporter, because I didn't want to just be a reporter. I don't want to be an analyst. I feel like you could get stats from anywhere.
yeah.
All right. Like, even me, I get stats from the same places everyone does. But it's really important to be able to show your personality and to what makes you unique. Like, I went to a live wrestling podcast one time, and this old wrestler, Edge, I mean, he's back in wrestling now. But he was doing like a Q&A with fans, and someone asked him like, yo, I want to start a wrestling podcast, right? And at the time, I also had a wrestling podcast. I was doing 3 podcasts a week, dude. I was doing like 6 episodes a week for about 3 years. Like, I was really grinding. But now, like, looking back at it, the same thing with you, what you said in passing before. Like, it sucked. The journey sucks. But it's also what made you today who you are. Because you also think in the back of your mind, like, yo, I'm not trying to do all that stuff that I was doing before, right? And it's also growth, and it's growing pains and whatnot. So some fan asked them, and I'm sure you've had this before too, and I think people listening have had this before too, where you might listen to someone talk for an hour, but they say something in 30 seconds, and that's the only thing you remember. So the dude Edge was like, at the time, he said there was over 100,000 wrestling-based podcasts. He's like, why should people listen to you? What makes you different and unique? I was just like, oh, that's right. I can't be proper. I have an associate's degree. You know what I mean? I wear like a badge of honor now, because that is what makes me unique and stand out. And I like combining both sports and long form conversation. It's a wrestling fan to me, bro. Like, I love your story. Like, already, like, I'm into it because there's a human element to it that people can relate to also. Man. So like with you, when you're merging the sports and like, yo, the new Jordans that came out, because, dude, every athlete gets you had 20 yesterday. That was a great performance, man. How'd you feel? It's like, I've been asked that. But when you pull up to them and they're like, yo, you're going to buy the new Cement 4s that came out, they're going to be like, oh, who said that? Yeah, man. I had to pull up the PJ Tucker, who has 100,000 sneakers and shit. So that's cool that you found that niche. And I think that's you also, which makes it easier.
Yeah, you have to be authentic, man. And it's like something that you really want to do. Like, you have to create your own rules. Like, Sports Illustrated, like, they're very, it's old white guys. So you have to come in and like be your own person. Like, this young black kid is coming in and he's wearing sneakers and talking about different things. And when I get to interview athletes, they're like, oh, this is different. It's like, we never had this kind of interview at Sports Illustrated before. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, man, it's the same thing with me. Like, every time that I've interviewed an athlete, and I've had some like NFL guys on and whatnot, and after, they'll like follow me and DM me and be like, yo, I really enjoyed the conversation. It was different. I'm like, yo, that's better hearing that than you reposting it. Like for real, just knowing that I stood out and I made that kind of impression, because it's the same thing. Like I didn't ask when I had Deion Jones on from the Falcons, I didn't ask him about his game the week before. Like the only thing I asked him that was relative to that was, yo, when you intercept a pass and you sprint for 50 yards, like how tired do you get? Because how often do you have to sprint full speed for that like long of a duration, and things like that. And we started talking about his college football days, and I'm telling him how I'm a LSU fan, even though I've never been down there. And he's like, bro, we got to set that up once COVID clears out. So it's all about like finding a niche and finding what works for you. And I think with you, with the sneakers, first of all, I've been dying to ask you this. All these sneakers that they send you, you get to keep them?
Yeah.
You fucking got the best job. You never got to worry about getting beat up on lines and all these like crazy viral videos. Dude, every time me and my buddy Dylan, because he's a big sneakerhead, so he'll always send me sneakers when they're going on sale. He's like, I can't wait to hold this L, because he's like always gets bodied. And then I'll DM him your tweets about like the new sneakers that come out. And he's like, yo, this fucking guy, man, just gets all these sneakers. He never got to wait for anything. So how'd that come about?
Like the crazy thing is, my brother Ty, he's always been like the biggest sneakerhead in our family. Like I was not the biggest sneakerhead at all until I like started getting into the business, and it was like, hey, you could get paid for writing about sneakers. I was like, all right, this is cool. Very different. But right now, it's like when they receive me stuff, like I always appreciate it, and it's a lot. But I do like donate majority of my sneakers, like especially to my brother and my father. Like they wear the same size as me. Two of my best friends as well. So always sending them a few pair of kicks. And my fiance,
I just want to point out, he came empty-handed, but we'll say it's the first
what
time.
What size you wear? What size?
9.5, bro. I'm on your Twitter. I'm on your Twitter right now. You fuck.
I got you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I got you next time.
I don't go hard for sneakers. I got into sneakers as I got older because I had the money to afford them. But my favorite sneakers are the Flint 13s. Never had them. I used to have like a small baby pair that I would just dangle in my car. I had like a shitty Hyundai, but I had the sneakers. I was like, damn, one day I'm going to have these. And then I tried to get the Grinch Kobe's.
Oh, my God.
I woke up early. I had the dual monitors set up over there, bro, to your left. I had that shit set up. I even had one of my buddies, Jordan, who's in the Discord. He's from Wales. So he's like, I'll try to buy him international because they went on sale like 2 days later or something. I was catching international L's with the sneaker ad, bro.
Yeah, they sent it to me.
Yeah, of course they did. It must be nice.
Nah, I love it.